Hey guys, this is Fake here. I'm just gonna go over some of the PTR 5.2 PTR changes for Windwalker monks, mainly monks in general. Just the changes and the impact it's gonna have on the next season. So, as you know, right now monks aren't very popular, even viable. We might say they're somewhat viable. There's not really many monks that actually play on ladder that have achieved high ratings, but so Blizzard is trying to make some of these changes to get them more active, make them a better class in arena altogether, and just make them more popular. So they added Ring of Peace and all that shit for a new talent in Tree. You can read all this. Gee, some monk things as they are a new class. Some of them, even though they're not very good right now, some of their abilities are broken. I'd say like Chi Wave is way too strong. Like you have to have it. If you have it bouncing during a stun or something, you actually just can't die during the stun on live right now. So they doubled the cooldown, made it 14% less healing, which is good. They added Nimble Brew, which is kind of like IBF, but works for fears and roots as well. But it doesn't make you immune to those effects. It reduces the duration by 60% afterwards. So uh, I don't want to talk about all of these changes, but Deadly Reach is removed. It's now baseline. Paralysis is physical. It's 4 seconds from the front, 8 seconds or 6 seconds from behind. Ring of Peace is essentially it used to be bugged on PTR and you couldn't like vanish or anything, and you could basically use it as a kind of smoke bomb kind of shit. But kind of like you put it on your healer or something when two melee or even one melee are on them, and they can't attack at all. They literally can't attack, and I still think the cooldown's too short, and it doesn't do very much against casters. It's a 3 second silence as you're not really sitting on top of a caster. I guess you can use it on yourself against MLS or something, and you could sit on top of a warlock, but you get silenced for 3 seconds. But it's not very good versus them. But it's okay because you have leg sweep in that tier. But yeah, you got rid of Path of Blossoms, which isn't really much. You get them out of stealth and 30-second charging Oxwave. They added Storm, Earth, and Fire, which is a cool ability, but it's pretty irrelevant in arena as spirits can get kited, and can't really use it for spread pressure because yeah, they do just get kited and they only have like 20 to 30k health and they just die to random AoEs. They changed their mastery, which is good for arena, so they have more on-demand burst, which they didn't really have before, but they're pretty strong. And yeah, I think I'll have better success showing you guys the talent tree differences and what impact it has. Uh, First tier is unchanged completely, other than Tiger's List no longer costing chi, which is good because nice quality of life change. Uh, second second tier change is you can see from Chi Wave, Zen Sphere, and Chi Burst. Chi Burst now has a 30-second cooldown, damage is doubled, and the healing is about the same. I think kind of heals for 40k. I think it heals for more now actually. But it's 30-second cooldown, no longer costs chi. Still has the 1 second cast time reduced by haste, and yeah. Zen Sphere, you can put it on 2 targets now. And healing got reduced though. Still, all the healing pretty much got reduced except for Chi Burst on this tier. But Chi Burst got its cooldown tripled, so to 30 seconds. So yeah, Chi Wave does more damage, but 15-second cooldown. Doesn't cost any chi. Nothing on this tier costs chi anymore, so it's actually useful to use it. Cause, you're gonna have a lot more chi in arena now, in PvP. This tier got completely unchanged from last patch. Ascension is still pretty much the best. Um, Compared to that. Okay, now this is where tier it gets a little bit more interesting. You can see on the right is obviously the new talent tree. Deadly Reach is now baseline, and Ring of Peace took its spot. As like I said earlier, Ring of Peace is a 45-second defensive, if you will, or you can use that as an offensive, so you can't, so they can't really counter pressure. But it's mainly a defensive if the bugs are fixed, which I think they are. After testing. And yeah, ring piece. Charging Oxwave is a 30-second cooldown, and leg sweep is now still the same. 45-second cooldown, 5-second stun within 5 yards. Um, yeah, depending on this talent tree is really like one of the trees that you want to switch a lot mainly because there's no melee or you're playing depends who you're playing with. If you're playing like Shadow Priest Monk or something, you may want to get like Charging Oxwave or Leg Sweep. Charging Oxwave is good. No one seems to be using it on PTR. Like I tested it out. It's a range 30-yard range stun and people are like, "Oh yeah, it's a power it's not a power shot. It's a skill shot. It's going to be you can't do that in arena. You can't like focus silent or stun, but you actually can cuz if you use it with like if you build this with Spinning Fire Blossom that it actually chases the target after you already like you aim correctly for the first time. So if they're running and you like horizontally and you're standing at them at a weird angle, and you get them while they're running, like you aim at them fine, it'll chase them all the way while they're running horizontally and still stun them. So you can hit multiple targets too if you're good with it. So you can get like a deadly reach paralysis. You can get paralysis, Fist of Fury, your guy, your main target, and then off charging Oxwave the healer out of that, and then yeah, it's pretty good. Leg sweep is good too, though. It's really situational on what you want to get. Ring a piece, usually you want to get that. It's a really really unique peel, and it's one of the reasons why you want to bring a monk. Um, Dampen harm for next year. Nothing really changed except the icon for diffuse magic and dampen harm you can now use while stuns, which is pretty good change for like mainly deep freezes and shit, and like RMP openers and with rogues being getting huge buffs. Dampen harm actually is pretty good, so you want to switch basically from diffuse magic to dampen harm depending on if you're fighting casters or melee. And if it's mainly caster healer, then it depends on what. It's usually diffuse magic is better because dampen harm you'd have to get hit for 20% of your life for it to actually take effect, and that's like 80k or something. So usually you don't get hit that hard. It depends because dampen harm still might be good for RMP openers. So yeah, it's really your personal, not really personal preference. It's kind of sort of, but it kind of depends on if you think that whether or not you're gonna take a big hit or not, or you just think 90% reduced damage is better, magic damage is better. It really depends on what burst is coming from the other team, on who's bringing the burst on their team. And the last talent tree, which last tier didn't actually get changed at all. You still always want to get Tiger as a DPS. Rushing Jade Wind, Sheet Torpedo are pretty much useless. I don't for Windwalker, so that's that. An ideal build I'd probably see could work versus pretty much anything is Tiger's Lust, Chi Wave. Usually you always want Chi Wave, Ascension. Those three are set in stone pretty much. Uh, this is pretty much optional. Usually Ring of Peace, so Tiger's Lust, Chi Wave, Ascension, Ring of Peace. Diffuse Magic, unless you're fighting like a melee cleave, you get Dampen Harm, and then it invokes you and the White's Tiger. So that's pretty much it. Um, but odd fixes recently. Rising Sun King got a 5% damage nerf on the actual damage it gives you, because monks were hitting too hard in PV, I guess, and that might hurt a little bit in arena. It's 5% reduced damage is, it's a fair amount, but it's almost negligible though. If you want to ignore it, you can. This is a big change though. A lot of people don't actually care about this, but this one right here. Spear hand strike used on a target that's facing the monk silences them for 2 seconds now instead of 4. The kick was actually very good if you get them in the front, which is most of the time. You could use it as a blanket silence, and you could like make huge CC chains with. I would deadly reach paralysis from behind for 6 seconds, and then like Fist of Fury, my main target, while he's stunned, and then charging Oxwave out of that onto the healer after the deadly reach. So that's 9 seconds, and then blanket silence them out of that, which that would have been 13 seconds. All and while I'm stunning, I'm basically almost making it a 1v3 for like 5 seconds while the healer still CC'd for 12 seconds. So I'd rather it not silence at all than silence for 2 seconds, because then if you're going for an interrupt, you have to pretty much make sure you're behind the target, or you're gonna risk DRing like your Shadow Priest silence or DK Strangulate or something, or any other silence like improve CS or improve spell log. And I'd rather like effects from kick just not exist. Stuff like Skull Bash, reducing, like making it a pretty much a mana burn, is just stuff like that shouldn't exist on interrupts. You shouldn't get rewarded for anything other than interrupting their cast. So it pretty much prohibits casting, and that's not what you want in this game. You want more casting. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this little 5.2 monk talk thing. Yeah. Oh, another thing. Touch Comer no longer costs G. Sorry, that's huge, huge change, because you don't have to. You don't have to hold on to 2G at all times whenever you're scared, and waste the global if you have to. It's actually really nice. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Um, monks. I think monks are gonna be good next patch. I'm pretty sure they'll be strong in a variety of comps. I've done a lot of PTR and been doing very well against high-rated players. And most of their burst comes from Bottled Fury, making Tiger Hyper pretty much 40% instead of 20 on live. And they're very deadly, very scary. Monks are. And yeah, so I'll try posting more videos later in the week. Maybe do some DK or lock videos and something like this for that too. But I'd rather do clips for that. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and if you liked this video, rate, comment, sub, and take it easy.